Hi, I'm Katie Krauser. I'm one of the librarians at Quincy Public Library, and I have been asked today to demonstrate a really fun and very simple craft for our patrons to do while you're home or while we're not able to have you come and visit us at the library. So today we're going to be talking about finger knitting, which I had not heard of, but since I'm a regular knitter, it was really fun to do some exploring and find this craft that you do not need any tools to do. So I'm going to start first and just talk about a couple different kinds of yarn. This is a very simple craft that you can do. All you need is the length of yarn that you're going to use and then scissors to cut the end off when you're finished. There are some great tutorials that we're going to be posting along with this so that you have a chance to read through the instructions more closely as I am telling you about the craft. So today I brought with me some really fun, this is called chenille yarn. It's very velvety. There's some great deep colors in there. This is more just of your standard yarn, but it's got a little bit of a blue sheen to it. And then I also have some yarn that is cotton yarn, which some people would recognize as making dishcloths out of, or face cloths, things like that. So it's very durable yarn. I'm going to start with the cotton yarn today. And so finger knitting is something that you can do. You can do it on just 2 fingers, you can do it on 3 fingers, or you can use all 4 fingers, and the number of fingers that you use is going to determine how big around the cord is that you are creating as you're finger knitting. So when you start, and I actually brought a little bowl to keep my yarn in so it doesn't roll away from me. And so when you start, you're going to just hold the yarn like this. I'm going to demonstrate a 2-strand first using just the 2 fingers, and then if there's time, we'll go ahead and do a 3 and 4 finger. So when you're holding the yarn like this, you're just going to do a figure 8 around your fingers like that, and do that until you have 2 different distinct loops on each finger, just like that. Then you're going to bring the bottom loop over there on your first finger, and then you'll do the same thing here. And make sure that you're always getting that bottom loop so that it makes a knot at the back. And then this tail back here is going to hang down the back of your arm. And then you just keep doing that. And again, make sure you have 2 loops on each finger. Bring the bottom loop up and over. And kind of pull it tight while you're doing that, because the tighter you are, the smaller your loops are going to be. So you just keep repeating that process until you have a cord the length for what you want your project to be. We did a couple different samples just so that people could see. And so this is with the 2-stringer. You're going to see that's a fairly thin rope there, a fairly thin cord. This would make a great belt. It would make a fun necklace. You could tie tassels to it or put beads on it. You could also put clasps on the end if you have people who are working with jewelry. You do all kinds of fun stuff and create your own necklace, bracelet, belt out of that with the 2-strand finger knitting. I'm going to go ahead and do just that. Finish out this one. And then when you're finished, what I was as I was reading the instructions, what I figured out, you want to bring whichever loop you have, bring it over to the first finger, and then to close it out so that you don't lose your project. And then we'll trim the end and pull it all the way through that loop so that it doesn't unravel when you pull on the ends. Okay, so there's your little practice 2-strand finger knitting. So we're picking up with weaving the yarn in and out among your fingers, just making figure 8s around each of those fingers until you can see that you have 2 distinct loops around each finger. And then you're going to start at the end farthest away from where the tail of your yarn is, bring the loop up and over, and kind of tighten it as you go just to make sure that your loops don't get too crazy big. And loop up and over with each finger. Sorry, I can't see it when I'm looking the other direction. So just like that, bring your loops up and over, and loop up and over. Tighten it down a little bit, and then you're going to start again. Make sure that you're weaving in front of your middle finger first, behind and in front, because that's going to keep everything really consistent and keep the yarn and stitches that you are creating from getting off center. So again, just repeat that process. Bring the loop up and over your finger, up and over. I find it easier for me because I have long fingers. If I bend my finger a little bit, up and over, tighten it all up a little bit, and then you can see that this is a much wider strand coming down the back of your hand. And just let that kind of trail away until you get it as long as you need to create whatever project you're working on. We'll do a couple more sets of stitches just so that, again, you can see the process there. You know, make sure that you're getting that bottom loop up and over the top loop. And tighten a little bit as you go to make sure that everything is secure. I like working with a variegated yarn because then I know if, you know, in this instance, this is the cotton yarn, so I know that I'm winding the green part of that variegated yarn around, and I'm not gonna make a mistake if I'm trying to pull over the purple part instead of the green part. It's gonna help me stay connected from one stitch to the next. And then you can see as we move on that that's gonna make some really pretty color variations in the rope as you finish up. I hope you have a chance to try this. It's really fun. I've been making all different sizes. There are ways that you can do this with all kinds of material as well. It doesn't have to just be yarn. There were some fun projects online that you can use even twine and various types of string depending on what project you are working on. There was even a way that you could do it with metal, but you would want to definitely check with your parents before you tried to do anything like this with yarn, because that would not work out very well. And I don't know what I did there, but I messed up. Hopefully you get the concept and can create your own projects. And when you're able to come back to the library, we hope that you bring them in for us to see. Thanks a lot.